Remember, when it all goes sideways, we blame Barnabas.
Right. 10 seconds, though.
Good evening. We are Boomer Rex tonight, and we are back with Thanksgiving Explained Part 6. Tonight we're going to discuss the ancient origins of Thanksgiving. But first, let me introduce Mr. Boomer Rex himself.
Boomer Rex, Nightly News, Feel the Burn.
Asshole.
I didn't do it. It was like that when I got
Tonight, yeah.
And I am RisenLadyHeathen. I apologize, everybody. Last night
You didn't. She was driving.
I know.
Yeah.
Last night I missed our introduction. So sorry.
That's all right.
I got nothing. I have no
If you're here, it's not on accident. We know. You already liked, commented, and subscribed.
Darn right you did. All right, let's jump right into it and dig into double asteroid redirection test.
Okay, so
What?
this one is actually amusing.
Do they have a real plan, or is this something?
No, this is, I went through this,
Did
and
they
they
write it on a
actually have an
napkin?
idea.
They told an adult, and the adult didn't laugh.
Oh.
No,
First of all-
somebody thought about what the difficulties were, and they actually have set up a test that might help.
I love how I
So-
throw my hands up and surrender because you can see that the internet.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we know there are
Maybe someday we'll
literally
add video, but
thousands of asteroids flying around in the solar system, through the solar system, et cetera, et cetera,
Yeah,
et cetera.
and it doesn't take a
Some
big
of them
rock.
are big enough to hurt, and
Luckily, many of them are small enough.
yes. But as we found in Chelyabinsk,
oh, no,
they
I'm
don't
not-
have to be that big.
Yeah,
to-
that was literally what I was saying. Like paragraph before is anything bigger than a trash can, and you're gonna notice.
Yeah. So anyway, one of the points behind asteroids is, okay, so you become convinced one of them's going to hit you. Okay, if you reach out far enough, you don't have to change the velocity much to make it miss you, right? So how would you do that? And so on the 24th, NASA is launching the Double Asteroid Redirection Test, DART. And in about a year, what they're going to do is they're going to run it into an asteroid. Well, okay, fine. So you're trying to figure out whether or not that worked. Okay, great. Not one that's coming near us.
To the year 2137.
we apologize.
With that
for what
redirected
we are about to
asteroid.
do.
Yeah. Anyway, the
They
idea
say you're
is
fucked.
I love
NASA
the
says,
paper
run.
rustling. That was good. That was good.
So anyway, no, but if you think about how the hell do you know if it worked, right? Because you've got this asteroid, it's out there. There are lots of other asteroids. There are all kinds of influences. There are changes in the solar wind. How the hell do you know it worked? So what they're doing is they're flying to a double asteroid where there's a little one orbiting a bigger one. And what they're going to do is they're going to run into the little one in such a way that it
The
makes
faces you're making are
the orbit smaller.
No, I could see someone going, we should hit the bigger one, and like you just rolled the dice on two objects. God
Yeah.
fucking damn it.
Anyway, the idea is that because they're always together and this little one is orbiting the bigger one, it's much easier to see if that orbit has changed and by how much, which would tell you how much you had redirected the little one.
Oh, perfect.
So, yeah, no, it's
Wait,
a good
I missed
idea.
this. I was too busy trying to figure out how to demand we rename the new asteroid to whom it may concern. So you're saying we're going to hit it with a littler thing to like measure how much we change it by. We're not
Yes.
actually trying to divert
We're
it.
not actually trying to divert
my
it. I'm
God,
sorry.
I love it. Smart kids, you didn't fuck it up this time.
This time.
Oh, it's always this time.
Anyway, well, yes, they are diverting it, but they're diverting it in its orbit around another asteroid.
Oh,
With the intention of
Yeah.
making the orbit smaller. Right?
Smaller, right?
Oh,
but
look at
here,
you.
you've got sort of a protected system,
Three safeties.
right, where you can actually see, did I make a big enough change for it to be valuable, right? This is
Yeah.
good data. So anyway, that's supposed to happen, if I read correctly, in October, November of next year,
Ooh.
because the asteroid's a way off.
So there you go, the internet. Put down the razor blade. We need to see what happens with this. We
Yeah.
might all die because, oh, whoops, we screwed up. It's not meters, it's inches. And,
Well,
or no, it's not inches, it's meters.
and holy shit, we redirected the whole thing. The little one's headed right for us, and the big
Yeah.
one's following it.
2137, you're fucked.
Oh, yeah.
Comet to whom it may concern.
Squish.
Or asteroid.
Yes.
Your comment would be cool. If you're getting killed by the world's largest slush puppy.
Oh, but it's
Having ever thrown a slush puppy out of a moving vehicle on a yuppie jogger, there's something poetic about that for me. The rest of you are screwed.
Why did you do
Oh,
that?
my
Was
God.
he being shitty in some way, or just jogging?
I mean, he's a human.
Jogging while yuppie, was that his crime?
Look, there was a whole van full of hooting dickholes that also thought it was a good idea.
Of course.
I gave in to peer pressure. I was young once.
Well, at least you came by it naturally. When I was at
After you
Duke,
told us the story about the guy who got killed by beer cans like that, we switched over to slinging nacho cheese.
oh, okay.
You can't get hurt with I mean, if you eat the nacho cheese, you could get hurt. But
Fair.
if external use only, you're fine.
No, I was driving at Duke and I saw a whoever was driving a BMW throw an empty drink cup out the window. And fortunately for me and unfortunately for him, I was driving with both the windows down and I had just bought a large Coke in a paper cup.
That's actually where I learned how to do
And so I drove past him and threw it in his window, hitting right in his chest.
I wouldn't do that nowadays, folks. People carry guns and get crazy about this kind of thing.
No, not at Duke. They're rich kids,
Yeah.
and
They have a lot to lose.
anyway.
But they have
no,
a
and I-
promising life to lead, so they're pretty much bulletproof legally.
Right.
Didn't hurt him at all. He probably
no,
spent $60 having the inside of his BMW.
Thrown
cleaned.
an innumerable number of things out of the back of vehicles, from people to Daisy Matrix printers.
I threw one night when I had my TR3, so I'm college age. I was going down I-40, and this truck got right up on my rear bumper. And, I mean, very threatening and intentionally. So I had this little, tin ashtray. So I threw it in the middle of his windshield. And so he got even closer and made his truck made ugly noises. So I picked up the hammer that had been next to it and waved it. He backed right off.
So you just threw a lot of things out the window.
Oh,
I didn't have that many reactions, and we used to literally drive home spitting on people and throwing soda's worth of water onto your hood.
Yeah, we may want to cut this all off so that people don't know what
Speaking
terrible
of
kinds
throwing
of people
things
we
out the
are.
window,
Yeah.
my friend told me a wonderful story once. So when I lived together with that group of friends out in the middle of nowhere, New Hampshire, we had one cop in our town. And he always sat in the same general area. So, and once he recognized your car, like, he'd just wave you to slow
Did
down.
he look like Andy Griffith?
I don't know. I've
Okay.
never met him myself. But when he didn't know you, and he didn't know you, like when we had first moved in, we got pulled over by him a couple of times till he started to recognize our cars, and then he'd leave us alone. But he'd pulled over, all of our family got pulled over at least once by this guy when they'd
Okay.
come, because people would fly down that road.
Yeah.
Because it was a main road and it was just a cut through for a lot of people. So if he didn't know you were from the neighborhood, he would pull
shit.
you over
I
and
even
tell
know
you
his name.
and tell you to slow down.
Yeah.
Anyway, so my girlfriend went out with her boyfriend, the owner of our house, and they were driving, and she was smoking, and she flicked her cigarette out the window. Lands right on the hood of the cop's freaking car.
Oh, so stupid.
So he pulls him over, and she's like, "Oh my God,
Yeah.
I am so sorry." And he's like, "Don't fucking do that again."
Right.
Like, it was, oh my gosh, I died when she told me that story.
I was only there once and I know his name. That's so silly. Remember that little sign that said speed control by radar?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Fred Radar. All right.
Like, comment, subscribe, Internet. Do what you're told.
All right.
And hope the NASA mission goes well and doesn't redirect the asteroid into the Earth.
Right. Tell me about Nordstrom in San Francisco getting robbed.
No, and I just
Well
saw
fucking
on
done,
the
criminals.
news.
Yeah.
Those are
Well-
some fancy, dandy criminals. Like,
Well, I
God
thought they
damn it.
were. So anyway,
Uh-oh.
so
Don't do
the
cops.
Nordstrom's department store in Broadway Plaza, right, which is is an outdoor mall in Walnut Creek,
Okay.
right? So last night, 10 cars pull up, slam on their brakes, 80 people go in, and literally raid the Nordstrom, jump back in the cars, and drive away.
Oh shit!
Damn.
And so I'm
No.
watching that
This
going,
is the organized crime kids.
this looked like a new thing to me. And so I thought, well, gee, that's interesting. Nope, turns out, followed a similar series of lootings Friday night in Union Square, right, where they looted a Louis Vuitton store, a Burberry store, a jewelry store, a Bloomingdale's, and a Walgreens. Oh, and a cannabis dispensary. So,
I mean, if you're gonna.
so this is one of those. There had to be some planning for this,
Of course.
right? So I'm sorry. We walked the cat back better than anybody.
Oh,
All
yeah.
of those guys are going to get arrested, and it turns out
Oh, they're Muppets.
they caught one of the cars.
I really need to look and see if that's a rude phrase.
Muppets?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
No, I'm saying I need to look up.
You think Muppets is a 4-letter word?
A lot of things sound kind of rude when said in a slightly British accent, and that's
Okay,
how.
but like we were raised with the Muppets. Like we love the
Yeah.
Muppets. So like we are not Muppet.
My point
And
But
was,
if you
Muppet.
call somebody a Muppet, is that really a...
Right.
I meant it in terms of like they stick their hand in you and work you like a thing.
Yeah.
If these are non-existent identities, which is not like the hardest thing to
Yeah.
make happen, right? Show up and be like, "Hi, I'm homeless. I need help with an apartment. But look, I know how razors work. I should live indoors."
Yeah.
They're gonna help you and not ask so many questions.
So anyway, they caught 3 people in one of the
The
cars at
crimes, the
Nordstrom.
internet.
So it just interesting.
Yeah, no. When I saw Nordstrom's, and I
And
really,
80 people? Holy shit.
but
Well-
that's the mobs that hit Walmart's. That's the That's actually, we got all the returns in the United States are now controlled by
Yeah.
a single AI, like in a good-ish way, because it's organized at a level of right. They can
Yeah.
put 80 humans in
Yeah.
a place to try and return things.
Flash
And-
mob.
yeah. There's been a couple of times they go into like Best Buy, everyone wearing blue vests, and just start walking out. And
Mhm.
you're not going to stop anyone in a blue vest at a
Okay,
big
cute.
box store, or the appropriate vest at the appropriate store.
Yeah. Interesting.
So this type of crime, I have an interesting story.
Wow.
When I was living with my parents at the place that my brother and sister-in-law bought
Yeah.
in Florida, we're about 20 minutes outside of Tampa, and we heard that some of the neighborhoods, like the new neighborhoods, these are all in construction. There's a lot of new neighborhoods being built up right
Yeah.
now. So this is all new construction and everything. What people were doing was you'd have a spotter car come and drive around the neighborhood, see what was going on, and then if everything seemed cool or whatever, there would be a group of 2 people, like 2 cars would come after, and then you'd have people come out and check all the car doors. So if the cars were locked, they would move on to the next house, and they just sweep down the street that way.
Yeah.
If the car was unlocked, they'd search around in
Oh, yeah.
it, they'd open up the garage door, they'd go in, they'd grab stuff,
Yeah.
and then leave. Now, I spent a lot of time on the phone with assholes sitting out on the front porch super late at night. And I
Oh.
would regularly see this one car that kind of matched the description of one of these spotter cars. So I think the reason why our neighborhood was never hit is because
'Cause
I
you were
often
sitting on the front
was
porch.
sitting on the front porch staring these people down as they drove by.
You were the neighborhood guard.
Yeah, they're not going to fuck around when there's an
Did you get paid
actual
for it?
person. No.
Well, that sucks.
But, you know, if you've got somebody literally sitting out on a front porch all night, you know what I mean? Because sometimes I'd be there till 5 o'clock in
Yeah.
the morning if I didn't have to work the next day.
Yeah.
So, you know, like they're not going to try that shit. So, you know, maybe if you have that sort of crime in your area, take turns with people, always have like one person out on their porch or taking a walk or something and just take turns. It could potentially save your neighborhood from this sort
Yeah.
of minor
Yeah.
crimes. Yeah.
I'm not going to speculate in that direction. I will say I found it interesting, internet, that when I had said a place in that state, police, you gave me response time really fast. Like, you know, a lot of people had asked that question before. And that was my thought about hit the car door. And it's basically a smash and grab until something goes sideways and then everyone dip out. And don't do crimes, the internet.
Yeah.
And don't suggest
But
it
some
text me
interesting new
response
flavors
time.
of some interesting new flavors of crime.
So
Oh, yeah.
speaking of crime, what's going on with this shortage on yachts and private jets?
Oh, I
know
want to
those
come back
two
to
are
that.
related, but I feel like rich people are criminals. So that's
Barnabas,
interesting.
fetch the jet ski.
If you're rich, you've probably done something
Yeah,
bad. in
yeah,
your
we'll
life.
come back to that. Turns out in Waukesha, Wisconsin today, an SUV drove through a Christmas parade and squished a bunch of people. So there are 20 of them injured and so forth.
So we're talking about the Wisconsin,
Yeah, we'll come back
Wisconsin
to the yacht
holiday
shortage.
parade horror.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Why
anyway,
do you keep messing up? Like, I have this all set up and planned out for how we're
I know, I
gonna
decided I
move
didn't
along.
like it. Tough
You
luck.
always do this to
Yeah.
me, especially when I do a really good
Do you
Oppositional
know
job.
what we should do is
Defiance
talk
disorder.
about the order that we're going to do them in. Anyway, no, this one, there are now 8 or 10 videos, and but the first one I watched, I had the impression there was some possibility that this was a runaway car, and he was I'm saying he, but the driver this SUV was trying to miss people. But I've watched a bunch of other videos now, and I don't think that's
No,
true.
he ran through the things and kept fucking driving.
Well, if you're, again, a runaway vehicle doesn't stop just because you got a barrier at the end of the street.
A runaway vehicle would be honking their horn, screaming, "Get out of the way!" All number of other things.
Or
rather
holding
than-
frantically to the steering wheel with eyes like saucers.
A medical hominid doesn't back in, which is the one picture I've seen. I don't know. Again, I was just threatening the New York Times that I would kick it in its goddamn genitals.
Oh my god, the Washington Post has been pissing me off.
As of 40 minutes ago, the local children's hospital had already admitted 15 patients.
Yeah.
And that's just in the time span. There's no information about if they're
So-
all related in the right.
The information I got when they recently did the police did a thing where they spoke about it.
Yeah.
What is it called?
Press conference.
Yes, they did a press conference, and I was
I
able
should
to
have made
clip-
something up. I should have. God damn it! I could have had her calling it a fucking doily.
Oh.
I know what a doily is. Fuck you.
Yeah, it's a news doily. That's the same reason they lay it out. And it's like a tiny placemat.
I am
with
gonna
a-
kick you in your stupid.
Typically, they
could have
happen
chronologied
doily.
the shit out of those.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Fucking-
so they did.
Dirt dragon.
They did the police
Don't tell lies. The internet.
of this Wisconsin
Waukesha.
town. What is it?
Waukesha.
Waukesha, Wisconsin, did a press conference. They said that they enacted mass casualty protocol, like initially as soon as they started getting reports of this issue. They have an unsure number of fatalities. The gunfire was not from the car.
Excellent.
It is thought that it could have been from cops trying to
That's what I
stop
saw
the
in the
car.
video. There's a
and-
guy wearing a safety vest, and it looked like he was turret tipping.
And there are no known injuries from the gunfire. So right now they reported to have 11 adults who said that the children, they at the time said 12 children in pediatric care. So that's any child under 18
That
is going to
was
be sent to
exactly.
pediatrics.
And the article
and
I
they
just read
upgraded it to
specifically said that simply admittance rate. They have no idea. Right, that could be a kid who swallowed magnets. That could be.
Yeah.
There's also a report that a responding officer may
I
have
love
hit,
that we're treating this like we're doing it live.
The driver.
No.
Oh.
A responding officer in a police car may have hit a pedestrian.
Oh, that's sad.
Yeah, not the running them over, but
The fact that I remembered the words to be able to express them to other people.
yeah, kind of.
I'm very proud of myself.
About 40 minutes ago, there was a report they have recovered the vehicle and have a person of interest.
That was what I was talking about with the medical problem, because what I saw was a vehicle that had been backed in to a driveway.
Okay.
Like, you could say a psychological thing if you're like, just, yeah, nope, it's cool. Here's all the damage to the front of my car. Right, that human wasn't trying to hide their crime, but
Yeah. Okay.
that's not a heart attack or a stroke or, right, a thing that would make you go, yeah, they drove right through the crowd and into that building. So,
Kept fucking
All right.
going, yeah.
And then tried to hide the damage.
we'll tell you more tomorrow night after
Right,
everyone
yeah,
else knows some more
obviously.
stuff.
Right, after we bought our yacht.
I know, but I love
By
it.
the way, I want to talk about the fact we're not getting any donations. It's going to make it damn sight harder to buy that wonderful new business airplane
Yep.
Yeah.
and the yacht that I'm sorry.
No, the pirate ship. Yeah,
I
let's
well, we can call it a yacht.
No, we'll call it a pirate ship. And we'll name it Yacht. We'll get a pirate ship and we'll name it Yacht.
Shut up. We have to edit this. That's
Oh
going to
my
be admissible
God.
later.
Oh,
Remember, everything.
BRNN Yacht.
I love it.
Boomer Rex News Network Yacht. Oh my God, I love it.
Oh, yes. Perfect. I love it too. Speaking of yachts, it's,
Barnabas, that's
You're welcome.
oh my God. It is,
We
it
have
is,
fun here, folks.
oh,
Don't
Jesus.
forget to like, comment, and subscribe about how amazing we are.
Well, I love the caveats we put in, knowing it's gonna be like an hour of post processing, and then however long till we upload it. And we're no. If like real news was as good as we are about, we don't know what the
Damn
fuck's going
Skippy.
on. I'm
Yeah.
reading everyone's thing on my phone down here below the table.
Yep.
Well, and they pay people to do the producing. I
Yeah.
produce this all.
So pay us the internet.
All right. So, speaking of yachts, there is, oh my God, there's a yacht shortage.
No, how could
Heaven
that
help
be?
us. Well, and it's broader than that. Mansions, yachts, the super expensive watches, private jets, they're all in short supply.
Oh yeah, because they don't have any. They have all the same problems with missing materials and such as computers and that sort of thing.
Yeah,
are
the
having
missing
now.
problem they don't got is they now have lots more money than they had before the
Yeah.
COVID thing. So 2020,
Fuck you,
the
people.
rise in wealth inequality was the second biggest in the last century.
What was
Yeah,
the
if you have more than $1 billion
I tried to
of
find that out.
personal wealth,
You can-
fuck you.
Sorry.
Unless you're gonna pay me money, in which case I will say all the nice things about you forever until the end of time.
And the
Or I die,
ultra high
whichever
net
comes
worth
first.
crowd had the biggest increase in membership in the last 2 decades. So how does this happen? It's easy how this happens. You have something like COVID going on.
No,
There are
it's-
relief programs being crafted. The congressmen and senators that you bought and paid for are helping to write those, along with the lobbyists that you pay and sent in to help them write it. And so a whole bunch of that money goes in at the top in the hopes that it will trickle down.
It'll never fucking
So-
trickle
No.
down. That has never fucking worked in the
But it's
history
a new
of
way to
trickle down
steal, it's a
theory.
new way to steal money from the government. So great, we knew that was coming.
Asshole is shaking his head.
The
What's going on?
children that were conceived on 9/2/2001 from the people who realized that their lives were about to get very good because war makes money for a very set class of people just turned 18. Well, 21. No, 18.
Yeah.
So that's where the number came from. 66% of one percenters are born one percenters.
Yeah, no, that's how you be a
Yeah.
1%er is be born a 1%er.
Yeah. No, and so that was the rude thing I was thinking, I'm a shithead, but no,
Yeah.
good. I'm glad for a minute they're going to be missing yachts, but again, these are,
No, but I think the whole point is that people, the economy's not, the economy's doing great and so forth. The economy's doing great for the rich.
Yeah.
There are a bunch of working folks for whom the economy's not that great.
yep.
And we keep babbling about trickle down and we keep putting money in at the top, hoping that it will. So we're back to the question for the airlines. What the fuck happened to the money? So we gave you billions of dollars. What did you do with it?
Oh, they had an answer for that.
Oh, I'm sure they do.
Don't get me wrong. If we literally dressed me up as the person that made that statement, I would make more statements like that tomorrow. Because that person was well paid to go out and say, no, it has nothing else. It's a completely unrelated thing, and
Yeah.
weather. Because weather is the one thing not covered by the rules that govern the airlines. All six of them.
Can I say something nice?
No.
You
What's
can
that?
try. We'll see if you get through it.
Oh, trust me, I'll get through it. Target, or Target for you fancy people,
You yuppies who get Slurpees thrown at you.
had raised their
I'm
minimum
the from Boston.
wage. Yeah, you are. And that's why I love
like-
you. And that's why you were able to, hijack me out to the desert. But the point is that they raised their minimum wage to $15 an hour quite a while ago. It's been a few years.
Yep.
And
it?
there was some complaint from the employees, which is why I never went to apply there, that
Yeah.
they were not getting hours, they were getting cut hours, especially
Yeah.
during COVID and that sort of thing.
They did a math problem.
So the concerns of their employees was heard by Target, and Target said, how can we fix this problem? So they took a more Walmarty approach to this, which when I worked at Walmart, I will say one of the good things they did is if they didn't need you in your section, go do something else.
Okay.
So they had a lot of cross training. Target did not have this cross training. So if there was a particular slow time or whatever, they had to send people home because they couldn't do other things. So what Target has done is focused on cross training people so that they
So now
can
they can move them around the
they
store.
can move them around where they're
love it.
needed, and so they don't have to worry about losing hours or only working part-time when they want to work full-time, so they can get those benefits and the extra money they need at their $15 an hour.
Okay, I love that.
Well played, Target.
Target.
I was gonna get a high five.
Now you can get a high five if you want. Oh my God. You know, if there's a shortage of yachts, I wonder if there's a shortage of coffee as well.
No,
Not that I
there's
know.
not a shortage of coffee, but
Or I
Starbucks.
buy poor people coffee.
Starbucks has given me the perfect example to prove a lot of stuff that I've been saying as a retail food and retail sales worker for many, many years. So a Starbucks employee tested positive for hepatitis A
I saw this headline and I didn't read it because I knew one of you would have grabbed it.
and then went back to work.
Mm-hmm. Their rent didn't change because of the blood test.
Hear me out.
All right.
Thousands potentially exposed at the busy location. 800 people have been vaccinated at a pop-up vaccine for hepatitis A at the Starbucks location.
Good idea, actually, because
including-
people tend to.
Including 17 employees. This is the largest hepatitis A vaccination in, I think this was in New Jersey. I can't believe I didn't write that down. Anyway,
Okay.
let me double check because I don't want to be wrong with this. I'm pretty sure it was in New Jersey.
So anyway, the sad thing is, right, that somebody was in a situation
New
that
Jersey.
after they had tested positive, they felt they had to return to work.
Right. No, but that's my point. My point is that if we were better about making sure that employees had paid leave and the appropriate amount of time off, so that if they say suddenly pop up with hepatitis A, they can be out for a week or however long
Whatever.
it takes without having to worry about, like you said, how do I pay my rent? How do I pay my bills? And we wouldn't be dealing with situations like this.
Right.
And part of that would be paying a living wage and making sure that people have at least 4 weeks of paid vacation a year.
Yep.
Whether they choose to use it or cash it out at the end of the year, it's necessary. Because otherwise you have stuff like this where potentially thousands of people have been exposed.
Or admit that we're a goon nation.
Let's try.
I'm not advocating that as the answer. I'm just saying
No,
if we're not
we
going to do
get
these
more and more
things
that
and
way.
look like the European countries we want to be compared to,
Yep. That we think we're
But-
one of.
But I
admit
felt
that we're just corn-fed kids with thick necks that make the world go round.
But I felt like this was a prime example to
Well,
absolutely prove
And this
my
is
point.
this is an example where you could actually do something very
Oh.
specific, which is you have to report, right? Hepatitis A. You have got to have this
So
reported
you
to you.
mustn't see a doctor.
No. What Starbucks should have is a policy that says, guys, if you come down with hepatitis A, let us know that, and we'll give you some time off. We'll find other things for you to do that don't involve customer
Oh,
contact.
no, because you know how they're going to handle that?
Oh.
They're going to handle it the way one of the places I used to work at is, whereas if you don't have the PTO, other people can donate their PTO to help
No,
you
I-
instead of the
again.
company just not being a
What
shitbird
Starbucks
company.
should be thinking about is how much less a good policy on this would have cost them than what has happened so far. And it ain't over.
If I was more into direct action, it would literally just be hijacking names that sounded close enough to corporations so we could announce that we had done 100 scholarships as we short sell their stock, because their stock always goes down when that's done. Because anything good damages shareholder value somehow, which is insane. No, I rudely made the meat fireworks hand gesture while Boomer Rex was talking about should be, whatever he was saying. As soon as it says should be, my whole brain clenches and I'm like, yes,
No shit.
I
Yeah.
agree.
We should actually live in a first world country.
Well,
That hasn't been true for a while.
One thing that you need to remember is some of the places that I have worked will actually not allow you to take a day off, even if you're sick, even if it's whatever.
Oh, that's right. I was gonna fight
So
for
you
two.
can't take an unpaid day off
Yeah.
if you don't have the PTO to cover it, because you need to have a certain amount of hours, and those need to be covered either by you working or by PTO. And this is another reason why people go into work sick. If you don't have the PTO, or if you're planning on taking a vacation into, a
Then
month
you
or
get
something,
paid.
so you've used that PTO, now you're sick, and you don't want to cancel that vacation, you're fucked.
I can't remember what your point was. I wanted to bite you about.
And the company that you work for.
But no, we had the same thing when who was the German pilot who flew into the Alps because he was about to not be a pilot anymore.
Right.
And everyone was like, well, we should have mandatory reporting for cool. You just made it so they won't be going anywhere.
Right.
Right. They'll just keep crazy to themselves until they don't. And that'll be.
Unless you have a policy that helps them through that.
Oh, for sure.
Right.
But we should also have more than 10% union membership. And again, same problem with the people who think we should just go to fake guns and everything. Cool, except we have people who've literally built careers becoming certified armorers and are good at their job.
Yeah.
The last death on a major union shop show was in the 80s. The Crow was not a union shop that day, and it's the same problem.
Yeah.
Or something. I'm not an expert on this. My point is, it's really hard when we make things mandatory reporting and people are so close to the bottom. And I don't want to be sympathetic to the pilot because he wasn't poor.
And there isn't a safety net.
No. And even he lived in a country where there was one and it fell through.
Yeah.
Like, that's why we should have like some kind of net. I don't even mind if it's like a really open net and like the giant fish.
But at least give it a try.
I can't actually say that because I'm against means testing. I would rather tax it out of the bosses at the end. Because means testing, I have to hire someone to look at a piece of paper, and that's not cheap.
All right, so here we are on YouTube. We've been.
What have they done now?
Well, I'm not even sure they've done.
Oh,
right?
this is the thing I sent you.
Yeah, this is the YouTube algorithm. Not terribly long ago, they set it to maximize the length of time that you spent on YouTube, right?
Use engagement because they're really circling. It's that when you drop the penny in the big spinny go round.
Yeah.
It's going right around in the circle. They're going to land on engagement or the other one.
Yeah.
Well, and what they used to do was they'd have like, if you were watching YouTube, you'd go to a page or whatever and you'd watch like video after video and it would just whatever. And then at the end of the playlist, it would stop. Now it'll just automatically play something based on your
pile.
out of the recommended pile, and it'll throw you
Which
something
is great
random.
if you're me and you use YouTube as a God's own jukebox.
Right.
But if that's where you get your news and stuff.
Oh yeah. No, I key in crisis actor and see what happens.
Don't do that.
Earth is flat.
90%
of the research results are going to be lunacy.
Anyway, the point is that they changed it in such a way, and they didn't intend to turn people into Nazis or lunatics or whatever. But what their algorithm did was take you deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper into the rabbit hole because of the, what you had previously watched, and now the recommendations, narrow down and so forth. And do they take you to bad places? Yeah, they really can.
But they take you there slow enough that it actually has been known to radicalize some people, right?
Yeah. No, and again, I don't think it was intentional at all. What it was they were trying to maximize the length of time that you spent watching. So, assholes writing a comment we'll have to read in a minute.
It's not one of those good out loud phrases.
Anyhow, but the other problem is this plays back to another problem. Is that we've set up a modern system, which is we've set up a modern...
If it makes you feel any better, I can't read your handwriting.
That's fine.
No, the internet has given us... we've got shitty internet service, but you can stream all day.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Several of us do.
It probably explains why we have shitty internet.
No.
But again, this is a radically different environment than we were designed for.
Oh yeah.
And you watch people who consume stuff that, if any normal person were shown the video, they would say, this is bullshit. But
Because they're brought around to it so slowly.
some of the protections are turned off, right? And then you've heard some of these other concept or other words and different constructs. But again, one of the problems we're running into is that the gullible are falling straight the fuck down the rabbit hole. And
Some gullible, but you don't have to be gullible. If you're slowly fed the right information, it's like any unhealthy relationship. You can be convinced that you're the one in the wrong,
Even if it is,
and that you
no
deserve
one
the whatever.
self-identifies as gullible.
Yeah.
there are 4 lights.
Yeah. There's a reason that you could. There's a reason why the numbers between officer complement and enlisted complement are different.
All right, peace and rapture. Anyway, what I'm trying to point out is that what we basically have done is we always knew how to market, right? Advertising subtly appeals to our need for social status and, belonging and so on. Well, we have set up a system that uses that all the damn time, right? And
if only they knew how tech worked.
we have two basic ways of thinking.
Okay, I like this part.
Yeah. One is,
This was actually going to be my devastating counterpoint. God damn it.
no, when you lived in a tribal village, right? If somebody told you something, you took it for face value.
If somebody in your immediate family woke you up tonight and said, help, they're coming for me, you would help them.
I would
You wouldn't
roll
ask a
over and
lot of
pick up my
questions.
pistol.
You
Yes.
would, yes. No, I'm just saying to everyone on the internet.
Right.
Right. Think about someone who would wake you up and say, everything you know about me is a lie. I'm actually fill the blanks.
Yeah.
You're simply going to do. You're not going to ask a lot of questions.
Right. And that was really successful when we lived in little hunting villages, right? And yeah, did they play jokes on each other? Yeah, I'll bet you money that the concept of April 1st jokes and hazing has been around for 35,000 years.
April 1st
But
actually
they
has
were-
a really rude background.
Yeah, but it does.
Oh no, do we have to do a deep dive on that?
We do on the 1st of
Yes.
April.
Yeah, I was gonna say we're gonna wait till Fool's Day for this one.
It's
Yeah.
the standard colonizer shit. Carry on.
Yeah. But anyway, the accepting what people say at face value and so forth
Yeah.
is that has a huge survival advantage.
It doesn't matter why the tiger is chasing me. He's an asshole. Help me.
Please pick up your spear and stick the tiger.
Or that guy over there, right? It's
Yeah.
literally the opening of Armageddon, because I know you've all seen that.
Right.
Oh god, yeah.
But
Hey,
we-
hit him with the big, when he comes around, just hit him with your big wrench.
yeah. But
I'm just giving my man a head start.
Fuck,
the
I love it.
internet,
You've actually seen that movie.
Of course, I've watched it a million times. I was a girl growing up in the 90s. Of course, I watched it. That movie was amazing. I still watch it.
But you've also seen Top
Now I
Gun
wanna
and Hunt
watch
for
the
Red
J-
October.
Oh my god, those movies are so good.
Sorry, you
My
were saying.
dad, yeah.
I don't want
My
to be a
dad made
sore
sure I
loser,
watched
bitch.
those.
But if he wins, kill him.
Yup. Oh, God damn, I love that.
So anyway, the problem with YouTube and the internet and so forth is that they're right there in front of you. They're talking directly to you. They have the feel of the old tribal village, and so you cue this uncritical acceptance when what
And if
you
in your
need.
visual, at least in the case of memes, sorry, I have to do my hate speech about memes. Because it processes through your the image processes through your visual cortex. It is literally the fastest part of your brain.
Okay.
Right, the parts of your life that you're really good at that you could explain to someone and you're able to move your hands and do stuff. You're actually using your visual cortex. You're picturing it in your little
Yes.
brain.
Oh yeah.
God, what did I stumble across the other day? Remember I showed you this was like an early meme?
Oh yes, the little
fuck
baby
was it?
books.
Yes. Oh my gosh. So we were going through some stuff from Mr. Boomer Rex's parents' house, and we found this little baby book. And I was looking through it, and it was from the 40s?
Yeah, it was crazy.
It was from like World War II era. I
Cutest
think.
love notes I've ever read.
Oh my gosh. And it was pictures of babies with little like
pocket
thought,
yeah.
like little thought things, like what was going on in their head. And I was like, these were the first, like maybe not the first, but some early fucking memes in America. I was like, holy shit.
But none of those babies
Did we throw that book away and burn it?
Yes.
Yeah, I was afraid of that. So, anyway.
Hoping you wouldn't mention the burning.
Yeah.
Well, we didn't do it for any other reason. It was old and had found it.
And along with the financial records and so forth.
It was a
Yeah.
religious mourning ceremony
Yes.
at me, the internet.
Yeah, no, it aggressively was.
So-
yeah.
But it was overseen by 2 ordained ministers.
That's
Yeah,
true.
there you
Yeah,
go.
we are both ordained ministers at the. I don't remember anymore.
Here,
Pay
both
me
of
and I'll tell you
say-
where.
So anyway, the problem is that when you have random information, some of which may be just idiocy
Like
coming at you, you need to think in a different way, right? You need to abandon that, intuitive, uncritical acceptance.
Universal Life Church. That's where
And
we're
you need
ordained
to-
ministers.
Only if they pay us. Otherwise, I got ordained at Barnabas's 5 and Dime.
Well,
Hey, I'm
and
all
that's-
about Universal Life Church.
And that's to
They're
marry
amazing.
some family members. So,
They're
to
The
all
only
officiate
people I'm
that
going to
their
give
wedding.
free advertising to is Nuketown Bar and Store
So,
What the fuck is that?
in Nuketown,
Is that in like that stupid game?
Idaho.
it's the
Now-
atomic, it's the Atomic City Bar and Store.
Oh, yeah, it might be.
Okay, now I
We
kinda
thought,
wanna go
well,
back.
I was close.
Oh,
Me
okay.
and the Sky Pin all over again.
Fine, we'll tell the story. So we're looking for a place to eat, and we're up around a place called Atomic City, right?
That
We're
sounds-
going to
And
see
we're-
the eclipse.
And that's right, on the way
I'll
to
get
the
my good
eclipse. And
eclipse
we're
picture.
frantically, when we have internet, we're frantically Googling to find out if there's a damn place to eat.
Yeah, it's time
And
to
what
eat
we
like
see-
right now.
Is in the brief moment that we had internet, we see Atomic City Bar and.
Yes.
And we go, okay, fine. Atomic City's, 20 miles up on the right. Fine. So we go to Atomic City and we park, and it's the Atomic City Bar and Store.
Oh.
And so, damn. So we go in and we're kind of looking around.
Meanwhile, our friend is explaining to every human being who can't get away from him, here's how to make your own little thing to see the solar eclipse, buddy.
Right.
Oh, God.
No, you just take a tube and, no, it's great.
Oh, and this store still
It's what I
had the,
love the man for.
yeah.
I was walking dogs. That's when I worked as a dog walker, and I had I couldn't buy a pair because they were so hard to find at that time. So one of my clients that I worked for was like, "Oh, you want a pair? Here you go." And I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" He's like, "No, here, take them." And he's like, "Here's another pair for your son," because he knew I had a son. And I was like, "Oh my God, you are my hero." So I'm walking dogs with the glasses on, looking up like,
Yeah, I love it.
was
Not burning my eyeballs out.
I got pictures of me with dogs and the eclipse in the background. It was
Yep.
pretty fun.
So while our friend is showing people how to use a pinhole to project the eclipse and so on, and all these kids, right, 7 or 8, they're just fascinated.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
That
wow.
there were some spots on the sun, so he could show them. See, those are sunspots. That's actually a picture of the sun.
Oh,
So meanwhile, we've gone in, and speaking of the eclipse glasses, this store still has their rack of eclipse glasses. They've got 6 or 8 left, and they're still selling them for the price that's marked on them
Amazing.
the
Oh,
day
that's so
before the
wonderful.
eclipse.
Yep.
We should go there again. This place
Oh, yeah.
sounds phenomenal.
So we're walking
That's why I'm
around
giving
the.
them free, ad
Yeah,
time.
no, that's great.
So we're
Great
walking
for not
around the store,
gouging.
right.
That's amazing.
Trying to
Looking-
figure out what we can make out of ragu sauce and
Yeah.
like a ramen packet. Like, okay, I could make, like, I could pretend I've eaten worse.
And so the woman who is is working checkout overhears us saying, "God damn it, it's supposed to be a bar and grill."
yeah.
And
What do
she
you mean
goes,
bar and store?
"Yeah, what is this whole thing about?" She says,
Who's ever said it's always bar
and she comes
grill.
over and said, "Were you looking for a bar and grill?" And we said, "Yeah." And we said, we never got to click on it on the internet because the internet went away, right? So we were hoping for a bar and grill. And she says, "Well, what did you want?" I said, "No, hell, I was thinking cheeseburger, right?
Yeah.
And she said, "Well, my husband can cook cheeseburgers." So she goes over to the guy who runs the bar, and she tells him this. He says, "Oh, shit, yeah, come on in." So we go in, we get a couple of beers, and they don't have a menu.
Interesting.
He goes in the back, he does cheeseburgers, and
Fries.
French
yeah.
fries, fountain cokes, etc. Oh, and remember the peanuts?
Oh my God,
Oh
yeah.
God, the peanuts were wonderful.
Great. They had a
So-
Great Dane that just was all about the peanuts.
Oh yeah, it was wonderful.
I'm
And
not
so
supposed
we're-
to get up there and get them, but like if some were to fall down, that'd be okay.
So
That's amazing.
he's an old union guy, right?
Yeah.
Progressive Democrat. We have a wonderful conversation. We're sitting there eating and so forth. We haven't asked what it's going to cost, right?
Right.
And of course, we've also decided we don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
We're gonna put
that
down
was the
40
best
tip.
meal we had in like a 4-day period.
Oh, wow.
Just wonderful.
Oh, wow.
And so we finally get done, and we've had a couple of beers each and so forth. I think for the three of us, it was like $40.
Yeah.
That's
And
good.
I know.
Ridiculous.
Especially
And
when you
beers.
add a couple of beers. Like normally you're paying $10 just for a cheeseburger and fries.
Yeah.
And then the
Anyway.
beers
So,
are
no,
$5
We
a pop.
left a very nice tip.
That's amazing.
But it was a wonderful stop. And so
So what was it
Anyway.
called again? Let's
Atomic
remind
Bar
the
them.
and
Atomic City Bar and Store.
Go there, people.
Newtown was pretty
Tell
close.
us about it. Comment.
And
like,
tell them they
and
need to have a grill.
subscribe. And tell
Now we can't go back because
Yeah,
they'll kill us.
Right? Gotta edit that out.
So anyway, speaking of internets and irrelevant,
Rid of that.
wrong information.
Yes.
You need to approach it in a different way, right? That's, analytical, rational. You have to look at things and say,
The internet is the guy on the street.
some random guy trying to sell you snake oil. That's what the internet is.
Do you want to buy some news?
I got Republican
So
news.
treat it
I got
that way.
Democratic news.
Right.
I got communist news. What kind of news are you looking for?
yeah. So again, treat it like a guy who's trying to sell you something in a gas station, right?
Yeah.
Parking lot. Specifically
Yeah.
in the parking lot.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I've got a story about that too. Anyway, but you have to bring this different way of thinking, right? You find something and you say, is there any evidence anywhere other than YouTube that this is true, right? Try Googling around and have a look. And there is one type of training that really helps with this. Almost any training in science makes you think in that way or helps you think in that way.
Of course you do. It's inherently distrustful. It's these sons of bitches say that if I do these things in my special science basement,
Right.
this is what'll happen. And
Yep.
they're liars, so I'm going to check.
Yep. Well, but science has always required replication, right? Most peer-reviewed journals really are peer-reviewed journals.
Well, and that's why
I will acknowledge that it all too often turns into an exercise in, their English grammar is not real good. So can you understand what they're trying to tell you? Then leave it the hell alone and publish it.
I think I can actually do it more simply than this.
Oh,
We'll go back to the isolate, alienate, control.
yeah.
If they're telling you not to trust other people,
Yeah, then you should
if
stop
they're telling
listening.
you about why they want to lie to you, right, and
Yeah.
making them seem like
Yeah.
and come back for more. Except when we tell you to like, comment, and subscribe, that you should do.
Right. But we aren't telling you not to subscribe to other people.
No.
No, we want to help expand your knowledge of news and politics as they occur on the, semi-regular basis.
Yeah. But if you look at what the internet is now capable of and what the algorithms are doing, albeit I think for the most part and possibly totally unintentionally, right, is that they are directly challenging your ability to analyze what you're being shown.
Yeah.
And the gullible are being eaten alive. That is those who accept everything they hear or see, right? So,
I'm the lonely, the overtaxed,
and
No,
you're
part
right,
of this
again,
is-
it's IAC.
part of this
Lonely, overtaxed, scared.
that too, and part of this is a change that has happened with the streaming services that we have literally changed how we consume.
Yes.
Right, because I can easily defeat the simple argument of it's just the social medias, which I make a lot, but
Yeah.
with Humans were enamored of mirrors when we first came out with them.
Oh, I
Yeah.
believe it.
And radio.
Yeah.
And television. And so this, right, we were afraid telephones were going to ruin the species.
Yeah.
This does a different thing.
I think telephones did.
This tells you you're right, and not to
Yep.
question what you thought already. Because I part of it's just who I am. I don't even trust, like, I extra distrust a thing that agrees with what I already thought.
Mm-hmm.
As
But-
you should.
Absolutely.
But it's also as we've talked about many times, and one of the things that I will continue to repeat as we do this show is there's a difference between actual news and opinion pieces.
Yeah.
And that is
We
something
blur that line every chance
Yep.
we get
Yep.
because opinion is easy. Opinion is, what do you think about this thing? As opposed to, hold on, give me 4 minutes with Wikipedia and
and
Google.
Yeah.
the important thing is that the opinion people like us who will also give you facts, okay, and then we'll interpret we'll tell you our interpretation of said facts, but you know, the key is that it's still our opinion, so you still should go out and do your own research.
Yep.
Opinion tends to lack, in my observation, opinion tends to lack
Numbers.
policy answers. Right. I saw one of the people I disagree with on everything because he's bad, talking about how one job was enough to blah blah blah, but this is very standard speech of like, hell's yeah, workers' rights and the things, and everyone should get paid more, and he had no policy answer in the whole thing.
Yeah.
And no discussion about what caused this or any other. Like, I am definitely policy heavy. Like, I would like to do numbers because I am swayed by the numbers.
Yep.
I am learning how to tell stories because it turns out there's a lot of people where stories work better.
Yeah.
Because I want to do the math problem and figure out if we just converted all of the cars into humans breathing, how many humans are there on the planet? Because one of the better arguments I've heard is, CO2 is just exhalations of life forms.
Okay.
And so I want to know how many layers of turtles are we talking? Because I think that would work as opposed to, because a diesel engine running for 12 hours a day to irrigate a Texas field is worth, I'm betting, 2 lifetimes of a human.
Oh, yeah.
So, sorry.
No. And that would be an interesting way to say, because now you can start talking about, do you want to get rid of 100 humans or do you want to turn off the damn diesel?
Yeah.
Right. And it's an interesting mathematics.
Well, it's one of the few arguments I've seen that isn't couched in, well, it's winter.
There is something that I think has been highly publicized on both sides that has really been bothering me. And that's the Kyle Rittenhouse trial. Okay. It's been highly publicized aggressively in both directions, by both groups. Okay. So Republicans, and severe right-leaning, people are turning it into,
Space rabies.
are turning it into, this is,
This is the way life
he
should
had
be.
every right to be there. Clearly, he had every right to defend this property that he had nothing to do with these people that he barely knew. And he had every right to be there with a gun, even though he was only 17 and should never have had a gun. And then you have the lefties who are saying he committed murder and, he should be charged for it and blah, 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 blah. Now, we know for a fact when you watch the case that technically, yes, he was defending himself, and I agree with the jury, and I agree with the decision they made. I think the prosecution fucked up by charging him with these murders instead of saying, hey, we're going to get you on the being 17 and having a gun when you shouldn't have.
No,
and
that's not illegal.
it is in that state.
It is not.
I just read a thing that said in that state it's illegal if you are under the age of 18 to own a
Let's see
firearm.
what he
Yes,
says.
there's
That's
another
the
piece of
firearm.
the law in the same state that says that as long as it's not short-barreled, it may be owned by a 17-year-old.
Whatever. So fine. So
That's why
technically,
The judge
Yeah,
correctly took that away.
So fine, if that's the truth, then technically, everything this kid did was apparently completely legal.
No, you didn't pick up his brass.
Right, but the lefts are trying
That
to turn.
sounds like you're really endorsing the shit out of it. Instead of making a joke about littering charges.
What really happened here is the left is turning this into the Black Lives Matter and blah blah blah, and you're not giving
Not
us
to say that
peace.
Black Lives Matter is blah blah blah. But
No, and I don't mean it that way. I apologize if I came across that way. But yes, and this is inappropriate. Like, they need to just let this one go because yes, he was defending himself, and it was proven in court, and the jury took their time.
Since 1982, the left's entire successes come out of tweaks to the tax code because we knew we couldn't get legislative victories. Because we were busy being tough on crime and 7 other bad ideas.
Right, and my point is that both sides are misinterpreting this case, and the people on Facebook are saying, "Oh, fuck this kid," and blah blah blah, and this is wrong, and blah blah blah. No, this was legally 100% judged correctly, and I hate to say it because I agree. This
Whether
kid
it was judged correctly or not, there has been a legal finding of fact.
right, and yeah, and I agree. But this kid. You know,
this is not the hill to die on. Walk away and let him live his life.
Right. This kid should have gotten some sort of thing. Something should have happened to this kid. I don't know what. I don't know how. It sounds like everything he did was legal.
He's a minor. I'm not sure anything should have happened to him. I think something should have happened to those around him, those who helped him get there.
I just worry because of what this is being turned into by the right, and this is they're turning it into, oh, we have every right to defend ourselves and blah, blah, blah. So now every time there's a protest, these people are going to show up with guns, and it's going to eventually turn into a gunfight. Eventually, this is going to happen. We are headed heavily in that direction, and there's really no stopping it at this point because of the misinterpretation of the ruling on this.
It's trivial to stop it. Get your fucking police onto the street and have them do their goddamn job.
That's not going to happen.
And if they don't like that, they can drop their badge on the desk on the way out.
To the time you think that was true of America.
When has that ever happened?
Again,
when has that ever been America?
No.
Yeah, we need to remember this is America. Like, they're going to shoot you, and they're going to let other people shoot you. And as long as that person can say, I was defending myself.
So what do you plan to do about that? What's the solution?
I'm going in a mass group on day 2.
What I'm saying is one of the solutions is for the left and the right to stop over.
When was the last time you think the left and the right ever listened to anybody? Or agreed on anything,
But that's my point. My point is that we need to stop focusing on stuff like this.
That's not going to happen. It's going to get worse tomorrow. It's going to get worse the day after. What are we going to do about it?
Okay, fine. You don't want to listen. That's cool.
Yeah.
We obviously disagree on this point, and we're both right and we're both wrong in our own ways, and that's fine.
So do you have a thing?
What?
How do we get them to walk away?
Walk away from what specifically?
Walk away from what they're saying. How do we get the left to stop babbling? How do we get the right to stop babbling?
The whole point I'm saying is something that we talk on this show a lot, is that we need to all remember we're all Americans and we're all fucked.
That's also never been part of America.
No, and that's true, but we need to get there, and I don't know how to get there.
Perhaps the question we should ask is how many people are comfortable with the country they see us moving so rapidly to become?
The top 1%.
I don't think so. I think they'd like some place to live safely, and I think they're losing that rapidly.
I think the EU is still a thing, and China will Brazil will more than happily provide them a mountaintop compound. I know, I always see Barnabas's pamphlets.
Yeah.
But, no. They are happy to turn us into the Congo. Never forget that for a moment. Okay. But right now,
we might want to stop them at some point.
That's why everyone should be wildly more terrified of the babbling we see from countries about issuing Bitcoin equivalents. That's when no country will matter, right? That's when they will begin to populate the Arctic or Antarctica or whatever. Right, you'll actually see the libertarians are always babbling about, we're going to make floating cities, bro, and it's going to be really cool, there's going to be no laws or whatever. The bosses can do that. They actually already own the yachts and the security forces.
And there will be laws.
Oh, right, there's going to be guys with guns, and that's...
To enforce whatever their will is.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
It's going to be the law of, I don't know, who's my boss today? Cool, that guy said. So no, I don't know how we turned down the hyperbole. I don't know, like, aside from the press didn't seem to used to get in it. Like, the press used to seem like better referees. Because part of me wants to say the left should check the mainstream media into the boards as hard as the Republicans do. What's the crippled hockey player? I want to make a rude joke about him. Yeah, no, he was one of the Bruins. They should check him that hard. Sorry, the Bruins and the crippled guy, but I'm pretty sure you're dead. No, because the only one side is held to any kind of accountability on the math and the logistics of getting a thing done. And the other side gets to go, I don't know, kids in cages? And then the water's fucking annoyingly muddy enough that it's not really the Obama program, but it's that turned up to 11.
So.
Right. All right, let's, unless somebody wants to, I mean, did you have something else you wanted to say before?
No, that's fine.
Okay.
I did.
I don't like where we're going, and I don't know how to stop
The
it.
problem for both sides is everybody's forgotten their Kipling. And the line I'm mostly thinking of is, if you can bear to hear the truth you've spoken, twisted by knaves to make a trap for fools, it's the man covered in shit problem.
Yeah.
The smartest thing you'll ever say, politically, policy, whateverly, will be repeated by the most
disgusting.
A human, if you were, like, you'd kill him with a brick if you thought you could get away with it. And don't kill each other with bricks, the internet, but, right, someone you would not piss on if they were on fire can repeat you. And that's what we're amping up, is the people neither side would piss on if they were on fire. But we give them the biggest microphones.
Yep.
And
so you got the clown Republicans getting coverage every day.
That's why you need to like, comment, and subscribe to the internet.
Right.
There's a voice that
and
isn't
to
advocating, here's an easy answer. Everyone else is stupid except you. We should do what you think.
Well, I think that's true, but anyway.
I think that's true of what I think.
I don't actually. I personally feel like people need to take a minute, right, to take in more than one opinion.
For sure.
Because just taking any one source or any one person at face value is always going to lead to a bad place.
Lincoln Lee tribute with whatever of enemies. Somebody hired a bunch of people that disagreed with each other.
Oh, okay.
I don't remember the 10-penny phrase for it.
Devil's advocate?
No, it's longer than that. It's a
minority opinion.
It's a murder.
Minority report.
Disagreeable shitheads.
Okay.
But it's not that. So the point being, find multiple conflicting sources, figure out the average. It's like when you come across two people telling you stories, the average is going to lie somewhere in the middle.
Always, every time.
Well, I think there are a number of occasions recently where the one story was true and one story is false.
Yeah.
And okay, so be prepared for the fact that the truth may be one of those two stories and the other one's complete bullshit.
And I think that's a lot of the problem with the Rittenhouse story is there was so much, previous thought and whatever about what had happened that night that when the truth came out and it was
none of it happened in a vacuum, right? Remember, we're still talking, and if nothing else, you can look for the team that's using more hyperbole, right? Mm-hmm. They burned down cities. The number of cities in the United States has grown, not shrunk. No cities were burned during the filming of these protests.
Right.
There was
stores were.
There was
things were.
There was localized damage in specific neighborhoods. Yes.
No, we can talk about the Chaz. We can talk about a lot of stuff. Yeah. I enjoy peeing on the left wildly more than I enjoy peeing on the right because the right doesn't disappoint me the same way. They scare the shit out of me.
But they're saying all the things you expect them to say. They never steer off whatever.
I know every year Jim Inhofe is going to come in and go, I found a snowball. Climate change, not a thing. Thank you, Exxon. That some Democrat from some extractionary state is going to go, I have a reason why we shouldn't do a thing that annoy the people who employ most of the people in my state. Yeah. And I can pretend that has something to do with the employees or,
Or I could admit it has to do with the money they just gave me.
Right. Oh, yeah. So, I would love to do a story about that governor from New Mexico who was telling everyone what the civil bids were.
Yeah.
And just undercutting the entire understanding of why you offer civic bonds.
Yeah. So, speaking of Rittenhouse, did I understand that the person who bought him the weapon has been convicted and sentenced?
I thought it was Rittenhouse.
It is Rittenhouse.
Okay, so we just naturally default to bad guys are German. I mean, like, I'm down for
I said Rittenhouse.
You said Rittenhouse.
Oh, okay.
I'm not against this. I want to know if we decided we were doing
I know it's Rittenhouse. Anyway.
Yeah, I know you
did. I understand that?
I didn't hear anything about this. I certainly hope so.
Oh, okay.
That would make it great. Because the first bit I heard of this was the mom drove him. And that turns out to have not been true.
Yeah.
So, no, I would love
No, the person who bought him the weapon
I am
or sold him the
absolutely
weapon.
about this.
Okay.
Oh,
I'll
did you
Google that
hear
up. I
that
thought I had
a
heard-
company already offered him an AR for free?
Yep.
Since
I
he's
liked
been-
the
He's
lawyer.
18, that's
Yep,
fine.
the lawyer smacked him down well for that. So, good job, lawyer, running on fumes of the money, I assume. So,
And if the weapon that the prosecutor was holding in his hands in the photograph I saw is the weapon, there are no sights on that weapon.
yeah. Oh, yeah, all of those shots were in point range.
Yeah.
No, peace, but I'm saying there are no sights on that weapon. It's
Yeah.
got a rail and
Yeah.
nothing. Right, maybe they took it loose. I don't know. Maybe there was something.
They stole it, the internet, you know it.
Yep.
Oh, don't. No conspiracy theories. That's not what we do here.
I was just saying something shitty about cops. Llamas.
Okay, so are we ready to get into Thanksgiving now? That
Sure, Thanksgiving
like
part
we've
6.
Round out our.
Yeah.
We've gotten out our aggression today,
That's
folks.
right.
Cheesecake with red glaze.
Yeah. So Thanksgiving Explained Part 6, where did the idea of Thanksgiving come from? But first, the question I want you to comment on while you like and subscribe is, do you have a funny animal story from Thanksgiving? And if so, tell us about it. Who wants to go first? Funny
Apparently
Thanksgiving
you.
animal stories.
Yeah.
Go for it.
So our we were having a ham for Thanksgiving, and the ham was left unguarded, having been taken out of the oven to cool, right? And to, what is the word you use for steaks? To settle or something like that. Just that, I don't remember. Anyway, so we go in and discover that our cat has helped himself to pretty much a quarter of the ham. I mean, he's been chowing down. So what do? Well, you cut off the corner he was working on and give it to him, and then you serve the rest of it.
Of
I've never
course.
seen a cat so sick in my whole life.
Oh, no.
Oh, he was so sorry.
Yeah.
No.
Bet he never did that again.
Oh, I
He
expect
would
he
have
did.
given a chance.
Yeah.
You put tinfoil
And
on
it
it
was-
every time after, huh?
Oh, it was fresh out of the oven. It had a wonderful fat layer right at the top. He was in heaven. It was a good ham.
No, I don't have any.
Really?
Really?
Not one.
Nah.
You grew up with animals. I didn't get a dog till I was like 10.
No. I have a Christmas story about Barnabas that's similar to that. But
Well,
no.
we'll wait for Christmas.
Yeah,
for that,
exactly.
yeah.
Well, it
No,
could have
I-
been Christmas, not Thanksgiving. I don't know.
It was Thanksgiving. Shut up.
It
We're-
was either way. The cat you're talking about wasn't Barnabas, so
Yeah.
It was
no, he was
previous
a tiny
Barnabas.
kitten, and I'll
Yeah.
tell the story when it's appropriate.
Okay.
Okay,
I
so
once nearly got
Yeah.
attacked by wild turkeys, but it wasn't. It might have been Thanksgiving.
all right. So my fun Thanksgiving story, and this is pretty standard for every time my parents had a gathering, but I'll say, we'll say one of the Thanksgiving nights. So when we had started having Thanksgiving at my mom's house from time to time, we had a dog, and the dog, his name was Tilo, and he was a miniature schnauzer, and he found when he was a puppy, one of my mom's friends, coworkers, I should say, had come to visit and fed him wine. So he learned that wine is amazing, and that's his favorite thing now.
Oh.
So every time we'd have like big holidays and big gatherings and stuff, he would go around to beg people, right? And God forbid you left a wine, like a glass of wine, like somewhere in the house, went to go to the bathroom or something.
Yeah, he'd be
this
right at
dog was up there, and he was good. He would drink from it without spilling it or anything, unless you startled him while his snout was in that wine glass, and then it'd go boom, all over the floor because you startled him. But if he knew you were coming, he'd droop and then just run away, and you'd never know it happened. So Thanksgiving, and he's going around, he's getting his wine from people, he's sneaking it, he's doing his thing. By the end of the night, there's Tilo curled up in my mom's lap, just bleh, dead to the world.
Pretty wrecked.
No bones.
Oh my
This
God.
dog was so trashed.
Have we told the Wren story yet?
We should now.
So we had a ferret He was a good ferret. He was very long. Anyway, so I was having a drink of gin, right? Beefeaters, to be exact. Cork gin is better if you can find it. And Ren came up and made every indication that he would like to try some of my gin. And I go, yeah, right. Well, I know how to cure the ferret of this. So I set the gin out. Ren came over and took a big snort of gin, and then did the backwards hopping, tongue dragging, nasty routine. He said, oh, God, that stuff is awful. Oh, my God. Dragging his tongue on the arm of the chair. And then he sat there for a minute, and I have a couple more sips. The next thing I know, Ren is climbing over my hand to get another snort of gin. And I go, Jesus. So he takes another big snort of gin. And then the same thing, backwards hopping, tongue dragging, nasty. Drags his tongue back on the arm of the chair all the way, the back of the arm, and he waits. And it wasn't until the third time that he came forward and climbed over my hand to have a drink, I realized he's not a slow learner. He's a heavy drinker. And that ferret, we had to be careful because he would drink gin until he couldn't walk. And that was the first night. He never got that much again. But that was 3 big, they were decent-sized sips. And it just knocked him out. Then he went and got in his cage and went to sleep.
So when I was a child, I learned that dogs like wine, right? And booze and stuff. So I was like, this is great. So when I got older and had a dog, finally get this dog, I'm like, yes, me and this dog are going to get so drunk, right? Nope, she wouldn't touch it.
Wine,
I've never been able to get another dog, cat, or otherwise to ever, because they sniff it and then they're like, no, that's not water. I'm not drinking that. Fuck that shit. And they don't. And it was just so funny that this one fucking miniature schnauzer decided that he was a goddamn wino like my parents. Like, it's crazy. So anyway. I want to start with back on Thanksgiving, and don't forget to comment with your funny animal story for Thanksgiving if you have one. And I want to clear something up. We talked about back in the 4th part of the series. I used pilgrim and separatist as separate things, and I also should have said non-separatist instead of separatist. And that was in something I had read. It said pilgrims and separatists. So one of these sources I had used had a mistype of some sort. But what I should have said was non-separatists in pilgrims instead of separatists in pilgrims. So Puritans are what non-separatists are. So what I really should have said was Puritans and pilgrims, who were very similar. The only difference was the pilgrims are separatists and the Puritans are non-separatists. So I wanted to clear that up. So don't at me. Okay. Like, I understand I made a mistake. This is the correct.
What have we got for tonight?
I would like to dig into the ancient origins of Thanksgiving.
All right.
We'll get right in there. We've discussed when it started and who was there and how it evolved. Now let's explore where this concept originally came from. Many religions include fasting, followed by feasting, including the Pilgrims and the Puritans. Thanksgiving falling in November is basically a harvest festival. Harvest festivals transcend time, culture, and continents. Egyptians, Greeks, and Romans feasted in ancient times to pay tribute to their gods after fall harvest. The ancient Jewish harvest festival of Sukkot, did I write that right? Sukkot, bears similarities to Thanksgiving. And of course, Native Americans have long had fall harvest festivals with feasts and fun. Let's just say the Native Americans did it first,
Certainly did it first here.
Long before the Europeans showed up to ruin the party and leave it at that. So let's say Native Americans, good job on you. You technically created American Thanksgiving. Well played.
Right.
Basically, Thanksgiving is universal, and it doesn't belong to any one person, town, or religious group.
Right.
This is a worldwide phenomenon that has been happening for centuries.
Ever since we figured out winter harvests.
Nearly every society has a version of this celebration of life and success. So let's take this Thanksgiving to remember we are all the same. We are all humans that need food, water, and shelter to survive. We all bleed when we're cut, and we need to be better to each other.
Do it, the monkeys.
And that-
Be nice to the internet.
And that is my Thanksgiving,
There you go.
part for tonight. I'm
If
not
we just
sure.
stop recording, we won't ruin it.
I'm not sure what I'm going to do tomorrow for Thanksgiving Explained Part 7, but I'm going to continue along the Thanksgiving theme.
Okay.
I've been playing around with the idea of looking at how it's been advertised, right?
Okay.
So we might do a thing where we have advertisements, from the ages on here, and we'll describe them and explain them, maybe. Or other sorts of Thanksgiving related.
I mean,
Like,
instead of
comment, and subscribe to
Yes,
find out.
please do.
instead of Grand Canyons.
Oh, you said you wanted to
flowers.
make a brief.
No, I see them going by and beautiful sunsets.
Yeah, so once again, we want to thank Asshole, and in this case, Mr. BoomerRex himself has donated some of these pictures. And we're probably going to change them weekly if possible. We'll see. But
We'll add more.
yeah, we can add more. We can move some around, whatever. But anyway, we hope you enjoy. Thank you for hanging in there with us tonight. We had a lot of fun. I really
We had a
enjoyed
ball.
this conversation. I think that we might not ever be able to come to a conclusion, but basically what I want people to understand in this time of Thanksgiving is that we really are all the same. We all have the same roots, the same general thoughts and feelings when it comes to family and
Perhaps
friends
we could
and what
move
that
the
means for
country
us.
closer to recognizing that and trying to do something favorable.
Yeah, just do something nice. I don't care if you, sometimes when I'm in a grocery store and I really like someone's hair, I will make a point to say, I'm really sorry, but I just really love your hair. It looks amazing. And I'm sure that makes that person's day. So just take a minute and just compliment somebody, or just be nice to somebody. Just smile and say hello. You could change somebody's day.
Absolutely.
So
One of my favorite people in Boston was a homeless guy who used to stand on the corner near the Mass General. And it was part of my drive home from dropping someone off. And he used to just shout compliments at people. He's my favorite. So I hope he's doing well.
that's amazing.
Yeah.
Cool.
So be that man. Shout, don't aggressively shout compliments at people, but politely say, I don't mean to
Fine line
bother you.
Between compliment and cat.
Yeah. Don't be a dick about it, but just if something catches your eye and you're like, wow, that's amazing, just be polite and say
something
excuse
nice.
me, I just wanted to let you know I really love your outfit. It looks banging on you, whatever. And we love you all.
Banging, that sounds weird.
Yeah, a little bit.
That's the slang the kids use nowadays, right? No, that's from when I used to watch MTV back in
Hello,
the day.
fellow
Never
children.
mind.
Fuck, you're old.
I think we have a millennial lost in the thought. Oh, no shock there.
That's all right. Until she said the nonsense about be excellent to each other, my thing was going to be, hey, internet, send us money so Barnabas can finish the device.
Are we still doing?
Yeah.
Comment, subscribe.
Comment, like,
Send
and
money.
subscribe. Share with your friends, your
We
family,
need
your
a pirate
sisters, your
ship
brothers.
named Yacht.
Everybody. We love you. Be good to each other.
Pirates don't go to jail. Don't do piracy, the internet.
Have a wonderful night, and we'll see you back here tomorrow on BoomerRex Tonight with Thanksgiving Part 7.
I'm going to have nachos.
Thanksgiving explained.